Hi everyone! So today we're doing something that I am also going to share on YouTube. So if anyone is live and asking questions, I just want to let you know that this is going to be a part of what I share on YouTube because I think it's very, 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 very important to talk about this. And what I'm offering is my personal opinions based on attuning a lot of you during the past year and a half, working closely with everyone who's been doing this class, my own experiences, and talking with other practitioners and talking about other people who are gifted. So this is a talk that is about what is the difference between having a natural psychic gift and being attuned to Reiki. And there's so much to talk about that I couldn't just answer in one text. So we're doing a video and I'm sick, really sick. So if my brain doesn't work, please just be patient with me. I'm trying my best. So just setting a little bit of light with us so that we let the divine know we are connected, we are there, and we let the divine find a space to be here with us. And then I'm gonna have a little bit of smoke. So if anyone has questions here about this specific subject or other things, just drop them, okay? I'm so excited that I actually have some kind of answers to this because I love it when there's a question and then there's an answer. So let's go into it. So what is the difference between having natural psychic gifts and channeling Reiki, for example? So I think, because that's really my opinion and I am in no way an authority who can say this and that and this and that, right? Because who is really, who is in this planet? Even if it's, whoever, right? If it's Doreen Virtue or whoever makes bank at those festivals, those famous spiritual workers, who are we to say this or that? I think that sometimes you can channel, for example, the Akashic Records. I would trust someone who's channeling pure truth or things like that. But the thing is, we live in a paradoxical world where the human base of finding answers is through the mental mind, right? So we think with the mind, but the mental mind does not explain paradoxes because where we live and where we've been coming from, right, is such it's such a thing that doesn't connect with the human experience that we could try to find answers, but we would not be closer to the answer as where we would be. So I'm trying to not use the mental mind, and I'm trying to show you that it's going to be different for every one of you. It will be based on, does it resonate with you? Is it taking the pathways that it takes with you? Is it working with you? So I'm first going to relay that this was in the context of teaching day 35, where I introduced our first guest teacher, Lydia. And she teaches us about her divine love and her way of understanding energy and of comparing the side that is the masculine, the side that is the feminine, and she talks about this and then she shows us how she does it. And she says it's her gift. She was never trained by anyone. She was doing it for a long time and then she started doing it professionally. So that's her side of the story, and a lot of her work is about being an empath and having empathy and understanding that being an empath means you feel a lot of the energies of others. I've been asked to tell my story, so I've been telling it in different ways on podcasts or different things, but I'm also going to share it here. So hi, I'm a Scorpio sun and I feel intensely since I was really young, because I was in a situation where it was just dangerous to be in my household because childhood trauma, and my mother is not a kind person, so she always was a threat, right? So because I lived in this kind of household where everything was changing at all times, there was no logic, there was no mental mind, just like here I mentioned the mental layer. There was no logic with her because it depended on the moment and the impulsion that she was in. So I had to read the energy of the area in order to survive every day. The way of her walking, the way of her voice, everything was just shape shifting all of the time, that I couldn't guarantee my safety. So I was really becoming extremely observant at all times, reading the situations in order to survive. And that was from a really, really young age, because the more I go into my early memories as a toddler, as a child, as an infant, the more I see that this was already the case as well, depending on, you know, the first memory when I'm 3, 4, and then earlier on. So I've always read situations, so I could consider myself an empath, right? I don't really like that title. I really don't enjoy it, because it has a sense of, you know, oh, I'm a victim, I feel people's emotions. And then there's a way also where I see a lot of people, and I'm not talking about Lydia, I'm just talking about people in general, where being an empath has become part of a discourse where it's like, oh, me, the white savior, oh, me, blah, 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 and I don't like it. So I just had to read the energy, and I think that everyone in my situation would have done a version of what I did, which is try to understand what's happening so that you could find a strategy in order to be as quiet as possible and as unnerving to the person who saw challenges within everything that was natural to a human being, right? So I've always read situations, and I've always felt more connected to nature than to other people, because to me people was my mother and I couldn't trust her, and I was also being gaslit. She would say that everyone was dangerous. She would create a whole life story around my dad, my brother. Everyone was just a threat. So I was incredibly connected to trees, landscape, the sun, the world of nature, in order to feel like I could be myself, right? So I would talk to different things, and feel connected to that. I had so much love in me, and I just wanted to share that love, and I felt love from trees and the sky and the color of the sky and things like that. So that's my connection to, I guess, gifts. But then it became difficult to be in different schools, different friendships, different groups, because my mother was so erratic that we would change houses, schools, cities, countries every 6 months or every year. So I didn't have any stability, and one of those changes was putting us through Catholic school. So Catholic school was a organized religion. I fell in love with the story of the Bible, but there was a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, and that was also some kind of trauma. And I was beginning to be extremely psychic with a lot of different things, like hearing voices and things like that. But it became really scary when at 11 I saw something. So I was clairvoyant. I saw the statue of Mary opening its eyes to me twice and smiling and moving, and that scared the hell out of me. So I totally stopped being connected to God. I was like, I don't want to be in that realm, because I think that what I saw was not Mary, was not the entity of Mary, but was something demonic. And so I was like, oh my God, the thing that is supposed to be purity is demonic, and I don't like it, and I was scared. So I cut myself off of it for years and years and years. And I still was within my trauma and my things. So what happened is that I would still feel the world around me. So having gifts, right? Being able to feel it, but feeling like those were telling me I was crazy. So I started drinking. I started doing a lot of different things that were really toxic. And so basically I was a Scorpio, seeing the world around me and understanding it and being like, I'm crazy, right? Something is wrong with me, because my mother always told me I was negative and I was brooding and dark, and something was wrong with me. But obviously it was just one of the ways that she had to control me. So that's just my story. I was feeling things, I was understanding things, I was hearing things, I was having dreams, prophecies and things like that, but it felt like it was crazy. So I was trying to cut it off, and I think that when you have a gift and you don't fully partake in it, you attract what you think, right? So because I was thinking what I was taught, then I would attract all the bad things that happened to me. So I don't see why I'm doing this. Yeah, one day I was always around people who were naturally gifted with energy healing, with visions, with dreams, with understanding the world. So I was always there, like putting them like in the life and being like, this is so beautiful, and not understanding that what I had was one version of that, because we don't have enough words, right? We don't have those words. We don't have clear explanation of what is and what isn't. So I believe that I was just what my mother told me and what others had. In Turkey they call it the hand. So if you have the healing hand, you have the hand. And I was like, I really want this. I wish I could be a healer. I was always really attracted to a lot of it, but I didn't believe that I was one of them because I didn't have the gift. For example, my stepmother comes from Brazil, and in her family they see things, and she really made it feel like it was part of a clique, like something like within our family we feel like that. You are not my daughter, so you don't have that. And it felt like it was always cut off from me, always gatekept, right? There's a gate, you don't get in. And so that was really painful. And at one point I understood that you could be taught this. So I was teaching myself how to do pranic healing, which is online. It's like Reiki healing, except you channel your own energy. So that's a gift. That's something I would consider a natural gift if you have it within you and you can do it. But the thing is, I would keep the illnesses, the pains, the trauma of the people within me. I would remove it successfully from others, but I would keep it within me, because you use your own energy. So I would get exhausted. So I was like, this is not possible, because every time someone came to me, I was like I want to help them, but I don't want to feel that pain for 2 weeks afterwards. So I continued on my journey, and one day I understood, it was made clear to me that learning Reiki would enable me to channel universal life force energy and do what I've been doing without using my energy, with helping the people in the best way possible, and I would not be hurting myself. And I was like, whoa, that's cool, but I kind of brushed it on the side and continued with my life because I was really into other things at the time. And when I was working with the Akashic Records already, and the Akashic Records told me at one point, like, you have to learn something new. And I was like, okay, I'll listen to you. The first class that comes to me in front of my eyes, I will take it. And of course, within like a few hours, it was Reiki, and I was like, whoa, okay. It was just in front of my eyes. I was like, okay, I guess I'm taking Reiki. So when I started channeling Reiki, it was a different thing, because I'm really good at feeling, right? This is my thing. I'm a clairsentient, as I told you, the Scorpio thing, like feeling. And so that's I guess my gift. It's clairsentience, but with the additional of channeling Reiki, it became a full-on clairsentience where it's really objective, really neutral, because I unlocked that mindset where it was like, it's about me, something is wrong with me, and all those things, and I was able to clear things. Now, when I see people here, when I help you and you get a tune and you talk to me about your gifts and things like that, what I see is that gifts, we could be like, oh my god, gifts, yeah, I'm cool, right? The ego, and be like, yeah, I am this and that. And I see some people who brandish it as like a token, like, oh, I am clairvoyant, this is really cool. Okay, if it helps you, if it feels like it gives you worth and value, that's, I'm not against it, that's cool. But I just care about the effect that it has on others, that could be like, oh, this is gatekept, I am not talented, I am not all of those things. So what I want to share is what I understand. We have gifts because they have a usage, and they're here and they're lended to us. So one day I'm not going to be clairsentient anymore, or maybe I will be until the end of my life. This doesn't mean anything about me, about my worth or my value on this planet. A gift, which sounds cool, but to me it's really like, it's a software. It's a software that I use within my computer, and one day there's going to be an update and I'm going to be given another software or something else. So when I understand it as a lend, like it's on a lease, it feels better. Then something else that I witness is that when you work with people, you kind of exchange those gifts. It's like those people in contact with you and doing this energy healing will start to be like, oh my god, I'm being clairvoyant right now. I'm seeing those things. So I like the idea that this actually comes in whenever it wants, because it feels less personal and more like, oh, it's a flux of energy that comes through. It depends if you have the receptors on or not at the time, but that's something that I've witnessed, and we talked about this in the last Zoom room with the people that studied in January, where they were like, oh my god, I'm feeling this right now, and we're working with you, and for the first time I'm able to understand this. And that was for the time being. Maybe it stayed with them, but we are exchanging things together. So that's super exciting also to be like, oh my god, this actually happens that way. You could be working with me and become clairsentient, and you could be hearing the messages from spirit through music, right? And you working with me would give me that ability. That's cool, right? We exchange things. We're like, hey, ha, hoo, hoo, hoo. And it doesn't mean that you don't have it anymore if someone gets it from you. It's just that ever sharing thing that just expands and expands. So you take it from me, but I still have it too. Like, we're just sharing the Wi-Fi password, which is really cool. So that's something that I understood. So when I received that question, which was really like the difference between Reiki and natural gifts, I think that some people have been doing Reiki before in other lifetimes. So when you get attuned, you're like going back to that thing, you're activating that line again, which is super exciting, which definitely happens with a lot of you, because actually when you do the attunements, like sometimes there's like a thank you thank you, we're back online, right? It's not the first time. Some people after 3 days they're like already rolling master level, but yeah, right? Like, okay, cool. Like, nothing is linear. We're coming back to things. So Reiki is a specific energy that is a specific attunement to universal life force energy. So it's something that, when I understand, is it's cosmic. So it's not something that comes from the earth. So you're basically, what I see is we're channeling the galactic center, we're coming it through, we're making it human, adapting it to earth and sharing it to others. Whereas I think that people with natural gifts have that human energy, and they're not especially connected to that cosmic thing, because right, we're in human bodies. Unless we do the extra extent into cosmic work and starseed and things, those things come a little bit later, but it depends. There's no rules. I don't want to be here and saying like this plus this equals this, and that's only how it works. Like, it really depends on everyone. It depends on the context, family, past lives, parallel lives, because healing you right now is healing that other version of you who's somewhere else. Like, it really depends. There's no rules. That's why I began this with, how does it resonate with you? Like, I'm not gonna make a mental algorithm. It just doesn't work that way. And sometimes we try to find the answers for it to make sense, but the answers, you will never find them through researching with your mind. You'll find them by sitting, closing your eyes, breathing in, and say to Spirit, show me why. Show me why, because if you have those gifts, it's because it's helping you, but it's also helping the world. If you are given gifts, it's like the service to others. You're here to help others. You're here because helping others brings you happiness too. That's, I guess, the only rule I would say or share. Like, I don't like those rules. Blah. Anyway, so allowing them to be here for rent, nothing personal. It doesn't mean you're Pleiadian, whatever, blah blah blah. You know, it's even those stories of being a starseed and things like that. They help you to make sense about where you're from and where you're going and how it can connect and resonate and expand. It's not something you should be attached to, because again, this does not make sense. Like, I understand that I have something of a seed of Andromeda, which allows me to use that light language, but I have memories of being here, there, here, and there and here and there. So trying to be that one thing, and attaching your mind and concept of self on that one thing, where we're just like a hybridization, like you're a hybrid of everything at all times. And I don't think you can really identify with that one thing, because each healing session is going to allow more of you to come through, because in the end, we're source. You are God, you are goddess, you are everything. You really are that person who went there and there and there and there and there. We are all connected, and that's where we're going back to. So you are the Queen of Egypt, you are the Amazon warrior, you are the mystic, you are Merlin, you are every single thing, because you just are. And a lot of people will attach themselves to a lot of those different meanings because it helps them, and we don't have to judge that, because it helps them, and maybe they had a difficult life story, and the way that they survive is through giving importance to those things, and that will help them until they decide that they actually don't want those labels. So that's just part of different patterns, and we're all going through the patterns. Everything is it's just unfolding at all times. And when you cast a judgment on anything here that we see, it's you casting a judgment against yourself, because the other is you, but also because if you carry that much weight on something, it's because you know you've been doing it before. So yeah, don't judge. We see it right now on Twitter. Like, we see a lot of people are being untrue to themselves, are being mean to others, are being judgmental to others, are being we see people stealing content from others and like denying it, and then saying, oh, I'm sorry, and then other people doing other bad things. And what I'm trying to do as a being is just like witness and do not partake in it, because we've all done parts of that. Like, we've all been a past life where we killed people, or where we hurt people, and like we are trying to go past the positive and the negative thing. We have to recognize accountability for our actions, and we have to really truly see where we are, without the shame, without the guilt, but with only the decision that we're actually going to integrate everything and just like elevate others and uplift others. And I don't know where I went there. But I'm just trying to show that we are everything, even with those natural gifts. Like, everything is always moving. And that's why it's so exciting, because the minute you see something and it attracts you, it means that it's a part of you that you could touch, that you could access. It doesn't mean it's a gatekeep thing that you have to study forever, or that is only to others. It means, oh, if you're attracted to it, it means you actually have a ticket to go to that destination and try it out, because everything is a tester bottle in the shop. Like, you could try and test everything. It's basically, I really liked light language, and I was like, I really want to know that. Why do I want to know that? Because it's a remembering. Like, I remember this, I want to go there, and I did. And every one of you is able to touch on anything. Every one of you is able to channel, or able to meditate, or able to go and create those things, because we all have that. We have that free will. There's no must and should. There's no like it only works that way. No, if you have an idea, then follow it, because that's the way that you know. Like, I just want to show you that everyone is their own god and goddess. Everyone is their own master of this life. And of course there's rules, there's like spiritual rules, but the rest, like, you can do everything. Right now you're learning Reiki, or you've learned Reiki, and now you can try something else. It never stops here. You could try light language, you could try theta healing, you could try tachyon, you could try, and I'm just talking about energy stuff, but obviously other things. You could try to be an astrologer, and even reading stars. That's something I really wanted to say. Like, the way astrology works is through, okay, we look at the stars and we understand the geometry, and this is how we interpret it. And then we understand after a few years of studying tropical, we're like, wait a minute, sidereal exists. And then it's a whole other way of understanding astrology. Same with Vedic astrology. And so there's other things. Like, it's not because you see a computer and we call it a computer and people use it to make videos that it's the only use you can make for a computer. Like, you could start making music, you could start watching videos, you could start listening to music. Like, there's many things. It is the same with the sky. Like, when you see those stars, it doesn't only have to be astronomy or astrology. It could be many different things. You could actually create and make magic with the constellation, the order of the stars, understanding the angles. You could make so many different things. So go and be yourself. Be the master creator, be the magician, the first card in the tarot, except the fool. But like, go create, have fun, and know that all of those things called natural gifts or those, they're just like as if it was a website and you're like, oh, I like this one, let's take that one, let's go into it, let's fully go into it. That's what I meant to say with light language. Light language was like, ooh, okay, right? So go try that. Like, watch the Marvel movies or read the Marvel comics and be like, oh my god, this is such a cool power. If you're attracted to something, it's a remembering. So go into it. Try. Self-train in telekinesis or telepathy. Like, try. That's what I wanted to share. I don't have any other question except exchange with others. Like, if someone is like, hey, I'm clairvoyant, then be like, okay, let's have a session together and I'll do something with you because I'm clairaudient, and then see if we actually exchange. See if that goes into that. And like, there's so many energies. Like, when you work with Reiki, you're basically working with the universal life force energy, the galactic center. So you're working with the main frame. But then within this, there's like trickling down of many different fiber optics and Wi-Fi, just like I was using this metaphor. So you could be like, okay, well, I'm interested in elementals, so I'm gonna go and find that thing and go within here and like say to spirit, those are my intentions. I want to work with the elementals. And then every day you meditate a little bit, or you just let your body see what it does. Maybe you're going to be super into fire, candles, elemental. And then you're going to be like, okay, so what do I have there? Okay, candle and mentals. Rafaela, Ask Rafaela on Twitter, is doing a class on candle magic and the elementals. So I've been working with that. I've been having some of the answers, and I feel like going and taking her class. And then you could be like, okay, cool. Now I'm really into moving my body. I love moving my body. It feels like Reiki to me. So you could go and have a bodywork session with the Lunar Jungle, Sarah, who also does those sessions, while channeling the Akashic Records. So you could try that out and then be like, wow, that was so interesting. And especially when you did this happened, you know? And it's so interesting because there's so many channels, so many ways for spirit to come through. Now, everyone here, people that I mentioned, they took a chance, a leap of faith, and they tried and they followed their intuition and their guidance and channeling, and now they have those things. So go and try out the things that excite you, that make you happy, and then maybe you might find a new modality. That's what I wanted to share. You could do everything. You can do everything as long as you respect consent. You ask people, and then you respect your intuition. You know when you're going into the wrong path. Not because it's right or wrong, but because it's not something that resonates with you and that only looks good on your psychic resume. But yeah, you can do everything at all times. And it's just, are you setting your intentions? Are you giving your attention to it? Okay, cool. So I'm gonna stop this recording. I'm gonna share it in the IGTV so you can watch the replay and catch up on the whole discussion. But I want to say thank you to Sarah, because it was your question, Sarah, between the difference with natural gifts and Reiki. And again, like, select what resonates. If something out of this doesn't resonate, just, okay, it doesn't resonate. Tell me. give me your opinion, give me your resonance about this. Like, it doesn't need to be a discourse, it doesn't need to be this person said this or said that. I'm just sharing what I experienced and what I witnessed and what feels like it resonates with me. And I am not authority, I'm just amongst you. We're all sitting on the same level, talking and sharing. So drop a comment, share everything you think about this, and let's see what happens. Thank you.